Well, good morning, guys. Here I am in the garden, early in the morning. It's like I'm living the good life. This is what it's all about. And I don't think we've got anybody else on yet. It's 7:37. So if you're watching this on catch up, I'm live at the moment, but all by myself. But I just wanted to just make a video to talk about this thing about should the lockdown end. It was on the news last night, and they were talking about in France. They were saying that in 4 weeks in France they're going to start lifting some of the lockdown restrictions and opening up some schools and that kind of thing. But yeah, and that we could kind of maybe expect to see, I think the UK is about 4 weeks behind France, and then France is saying that in 4 weeks time they will basically start opening stuff up, so it might be another 8 weeks or so until we actually start to see the kind of lockdown end. But I was reading a really interesting news article which was asking people in Lancashire whether they think that the lockdown should finish, and it basically said nearly everybody said that they think that the lockdown should continue for a lot longer, which I thought was really interesting because I think for a long time in society and in culture we've had this kind of idea of freedom being that freedom is where we basically throw off any sort of authority or any sort of ideas that tell us what it is that we should be doing, and you see that in all sorts of different places, whether it's kind of like, you know, sexual ethics or entertainment, or certainly on university campuses, like the idea that anybody could tell us what we should do being a good thing is almost like ridiculous, you know. The kind of main motto of the time is to follow our hearts, do what it is that we want to do, live the way that we want to do, make our own decisions and own choices, because that's how we find freedom. But I think it's amazing that in this time people are saying actually the best thing in this moment is for us to continue to be locked down, that there's actually a sense of freedom that comes from listening to and obeying the rules, that is somehow better for us. And just reminded me of this illustration that I remember from a little while ago about a fish. The cat's trying to come outside. Let me stop him. Yeah, reminded me of oh, good morning to people that are listening, by the way. Chris Hardgreaves, Jack, good morning. A few other people. But yeah, about this illustration of a fish, and it went a bit like this. You know, if you how can you make, if you've got a pet fish, how do you make your fish the most happy and satisfied that it can be? You know, could you take your fish out of the water and, you know, give him a deck chair, give him Wi-Fi, give him a little cocktail, give him a little copy of, like, I don't know, Playfish magazine? And is that the kind of thing that's going to make your fish happy? No, your fish is most happy and most satisfied when it is in the water, because that is where fish are designed to be, and that is where they are most free. And in this moment we are most free when we're safe and locked inside of our houses. And I want to just extrapolate that to say that is a gospel principle, and that the same truth extends to the things of the Bible as well, and that we see, you know, Jesus says in John chapter 8, where has it gone? Let me find it. Oh, I had it a minute ago. Oh, this is the trouble when you go live, isn't it? And you've not prepared. Where is where is the verse gone? John chapter 8, I'm sure it's verse 36. 36. Yeah, so John chapter 8 says, Jesus says John 34, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever, the son remains forever. So if the son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And so Jesus is saying that, interesting, the slave does not remain in the house forever, the son remains forever. So if the son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. And everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. So it's kind of like Jesus is saying basically that we continue to be slaves when we're not following his rules and we're not following his ways, but there's a freedom that comes from obeying him, because I guess the rules that he gives us for life are the best ones. They're the ones that we are to live by, and that if we kind of live in his if we live in the freedom that he gives to us by following his rules, it's kind of somehow I guess it's what we're designed for, isn't it? So in the same way that the fish, if you take your fish out of your pond and put it on a deck chair, it's not going to be free. You're not setting your fish free in any sense. If you take people out of lockdown and let them live however they want to live in this time, they're not going to be set free, because they're going to be under slavery to the coronavirus. And we see the same thing in the gospel, that we are set free when we live the ways in which Jesus tells us to live, when we're obedient to him. And those things are not there to condemn us. They're not there to make life more difficult. There's no duty to have to live under the law and to live under the things that the way the Bible tells us to live. But there's a freedom that comes from when we choose to do it, because it's the rules that Jesus has given us for life. It's the best way to live. It's how we access the good life, which is not just kind of sitting in your garden on a lovely sunny morning such as this with your sunglasses on, pretending that you're on holiday. But the good life is it comes from a sense of obedience and living in the freedom for which Jesus has won for us, which is basically freely submitting ourselves to his good purposes for our lives. So should the lockdown continue? Yes, I think it should. But I also think that there's another sort of lockdown that we are to stay in the safe house of the gospel, and we're to stay in Jesus, and we're to stay obedient to him, and that will bring us a freedom not just from the coronavirus, but from a much greater evil, from sin and from destruction and from all the things that Satan and the enemy has against us. We are to stay in Jesus, for he is the one who sets us free. So thanks all for watching. Good morning, Joe Henderson. Good morning, Celia, who's laughing at me, not been able to find the verse. Davey Allen, good morning, who's left us a little comment. I think God is using the consequences of this virus to his glory. He's using this as an opportunity for us to sit down, shut up, and listen to him for a change. And good morning to you as well, by the way. Yeah, I think that's right, Davey. I think that is absolutely right, that there is a sense in this moment that God is restricting us to set us free, which I think is a principle that we have completely lost in this culture and almost seems alien to us. And I think now people are waking up and realizing it, that there is a sense in which, people have always said, oh, well, how could God tell me what to do about my life? How could he try and control me? How could he tell me, what is right and what is wrong? But actually, we need that. We need to be told in this moment to stay inside your houses. And we also need the God of the universe to come into our lives and tell us what is right and wrong, because we don't even know what's good for us. So that's kind of what I wanted to say this morning. But I'm praying for you guys that you have a great day today. And yeah, stay safe in Jesus. Amen. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.